what this film has an opportunity to say to the world really is that democracy is more fragile than I think we've really taken advantage of our democratic privileges and taken them for granted. I think that I think what's happening in Venezuela is just a microcosm of what could happen in any democratic state. I think we talked often in the Edit Bay about creating almost this sub theme called, the dictator playbook, where, we really unraveled Maduro's method, over a 7-year period or so from Chavez into the Maduro regime, how one by one pillar of democracy was taken away from the Venezuelan people. First he started disarming them by making certain arms, illegal. Then he started, which taking away, their right to protect each other, ability to protect themselves from the military or police. They took away, they made voting, um, corrupt and unfair. So they have no free and fair elections right now. So he just started taking one thing. Then went after journalists and the media. And essentially, the main form of media in Venezuela is the government television station. So if you want news, I mean, you rely on the internet to get the world news and the facts about what's going on. He doesn't want you to know that. He doesn't want you to know, so he's controlled all communications coming in and out of the country. So one by one, he's just crippled the citizens who have now an infrastructure on top of it and we haven't even talked about the humanitarian crisis. I mean, the infrastructure from the corruption, the financial corruption at the top of this food chain, this regime has incompetently run a country, and now, I mean, we have of magnitude. Now you add a pandemic on top of it, a crippled medical system. You have water shortages. You have hospitals that used to run, on well water that's run out. Surgeons can't wash their hands in between surgeries. You have 1 out of 3 children malnutrition, with like suffering from, basically starvation. The electrical grid is, as you know, from, a year ago, completely shut down. Now, how do you perform surgery when you can't predict if you're going to have electricity or lights? You don't have gas because the oil and gas infrastructure is completely collapsing. So they don't even have the ability to run generators. People have to walk the distance between, imagine walking from New York City to Florida to get to Columbia, because there's not enough gas to, if you fill up a tank of gas, like there's no gas stations when you run out the next 2 hours of driving or whatever. There's no way to fill up your tank, so your car can only get you so far. So it's you know sorry, I'm a little bit on my on the humanitarian soapbox, but it's really a serious situation. And just going back to this crippling of democracy, it starts there, right? So when you cripple your people in your political structure, then what follows is everything else being completely decayed.